system, but then I didn't see that they had anything in Lake Havasu. Do you have, can I ask now about, okay, I can ask, okay. So do you have a building in Havasu, or how do you, is it just in Bullhead? And
We don't have a physical space that we own or lease. The services that we currently provide, we do actually rent out a facility from the city so that we can bring in parents. We do a parent support group here locally in the Lake Havasu area. Our providers do live here, and they provide the services, the direct support services to the children, and the family support services to the children. As far as a physical space, we don't have that, but we do lease out other space as needed to accomplish our goals.
so do you provide it at the schools? Do you provide it at, where do you
We provide, well,
training?
with the family support services, we provide those out in the community, in the court through our Parent Support Now program, accompanying them to child family team meetings. If we have parent support group meetings, just recently we actually run out of space from the city in the community center to hold those meetings. They're open to the public. And then we also release that same space on a weekly basis for our direct support kids who are getting direct support services that maybe need some type of, to do a craft or just to get out of the weather. But a lot of our direct support services are done at the parks or, out in the community doing activities.
So, and with your application, would that funding be specific to Lake Havasu City kids, or are those
absolutely, all of it would be used for providing the active parenting and the CPI classes and uninsured and underinsured in Lake Havasu City,
not the
only
other.
in this area.
Yeah. And the reason why is because I'm Patrick Winters from My Kid. I'm Vice President of Marketing and Development. The reason why is that most of our services are performed out in the community. So oftentimes it's unfortunate, like our office in Bullhead, and unfortunately sometimes it's underused just due to the fact that, in order to get the kids, it's either going to be after school, it's going to be summer, it's going to be winter break. It's not like we're pulling them out of school to provide services, but this support is going to provide 600 residents in Lake Havasu City with CPI trainings and active parenting. We believe that it's going to affect the community at large, and that's why it would be sustainable.
Okay, the reason why I ask is because I know we had even brought up United Way, because a lot of your organizations are countywide. So, and the other cities received ARPA funds too, so we felt like we had to do our diligence to make sure this was going to Lake Havasu residents.
The goal with our proposal is to provide the training to residents of Lake Havasu City so that they can then go on, and it's a train the trainer. So the sustainability of it is that we're going to have, a lot of people who can go out and provide these services to families here in Lake Havasu, to provide that training to agencies within Lake Havasu. So that's the idea behind that proposal.
And that's why we also provided MOUs or letters of support from Southwest Behavioral Health, Closed Closet, as well as mile markers to get support really working with other community agencies in the area.
So, sorry, you're making me think here now. So that Train the Trainer program, active parenting is it's like a relationship building curriculum, correct?
I am going to let...
It is. We have our family support manager, Nancy Osborne, here too, but the active parenting curriculum is, it is a parenting class. So for instance, if there's a family who's DCS involved and they have to attend a parenting class, the active parenting has been approved for that. And our scope of this is that we want to provide that training to the parents, but we also want it to be able to be sustained throughout the community so that they don't have to go to just My Kid, or they can go to any agency who's sent their staff to have that training, or even just community members. If there's a parent support group that goes on, they can have that training available.
So we're training trainers to
Right.
go out into the community, and these are
Right.
community partners. It could be parents, it could be different agencies that we want to train everybody so it's long lasting.
Right.
Because oftentimes everybody asks, funders, everybody asks, like, how are you going to sustain this? So this was our biggest need in order to sustain the community and make it everlasting.
Right. Okay. And I'm sorry, you said something that kind of opened a can of worms in my brain. Okay. So you referred to DCS and using that as a referral source. So DCS has their own funding stream through the Department of Economic Security and through the Department of Child Safety, and also works with the behavioral health plans to provide a level of training to those organizations. So I want to make sure we're not actually supplanting funds and taking money away from organizations that should be providing the training already within. So if active parenting is something that's approved by DCS, would we not ask DCS or one of their contracted providers to also do that aside,
Sure.
but as not maybe as this coalition, but should they not be providing that level of support in the community to those families that need it as preventative services and as treatment for those services, those children that qualify for DCS?
So they do, but the active parenting isn't just for those families, it's for all families. It's, I don't,
Well, and I think to answer your question too is that when DCS tells a parent that's involved in a dependency case, you need to go take a parenting class. They're not doing that dependency class. They're not.
DCS isn't.
DCS isn't doing that. They're sending them out to agencies like ours to get those types of trainings. Not just ours, but there are others. So we don't get any funding from DCS for that.
No.
If that is something that we provide through ourselves. Now, they may qualify under something like Mercy Care or something like that, then that could be utilized for that. But that doesn't cover any of the trainer or having
Curriculum.
that curriculum, those books, those things that where you're going to be able to sustain the trainers. So as it stands right now, it's probably hard for parents involved in DCS or not involved in DCS to go out and get that active parent or that parenting class, whether it's the active parenting or another class. It's hard for them to find those.
Right, and I'm also thinking that I know like the school district right now is putting out a parenting class called Love and Logic that isn't it's out there and it's provided for the community, but it's not well attended. And so I'm just wondering if there's any coordination between organizations to really leverage those, since it seems like there is availability.
The active parenting curriculum is an evidence-based curriculum that we used in our agency. Of course, we always want to collaborate with any other agency where there's a need. So if there was something with the school that we wanted to incorporate some of the things that we're doing, or I know that we work very closely with parent liaisons in the schools for them to refer families to my kids that they need services. So all we're trying to do with this is to provide the training and also to provide the training for the trainers so that every agency in Lake Havasu could have somebody trained to do active parenting. All of the agencies up here could send staff to do that training and provide it through their own services.
And that's also including our CPI, our crisis prevention intervention. So that's the other aspect to it. So there's going to be 2 of them that we've applied for.
Okay. And is the crisis prevention intervention, is that for community-based or is that for organization? So like
It's for both.
So as a
It is.
parent, if I wanted that training, I could.
Yes. you
Okay.
could. Uh-huh.
Okay.
How do you plan to measure your effectiveness with using this money? And there is a portion of the reporting on this grant that we need to know how you are measuring that. What are your metrics for telling us that you've done well?
So basically within our CRM, what we're going to document is any individual that we train. We're going to track the numbers of trainings. We're going to track the outcomes that were put into the grant. Yeah. Does that?
And you should be able to, with this, you should be able to measure how many were community members, how many were staffed from other service agencies. Those are all items that we can track to measure the success, so that at the end of this, you can say, we trained, 50 staff in different service organizations, from 50 staff from, 40 different service organizations, and, 200 parents or 300 parents or whatever the case may be.
And some of the measurements that we're looking at are number of classes provided, number of families trained, number of trainers trained, number of families connected with other supports in the community, as well as the outcomes that were included in the grant. The age of elementary age children's behavior will significantly improve. Rating of parental attitudes and beliefs significantly improve. And I can go down this list, but it was included. Sorry, I don't want to bore you
It
or
was
take
original,
take up too much time.
But you're.
I'm surprised the buzzer hasn't rung yet.
Oh, no. I guess we don't have it on that one.
No, we don't have it.
But you are the organization that had the access interface in it, and you removed that, right?
I'm sorry?
Didn't you have the access healthcare portion in yours? Is that what you removed?
Yes, so what
Okay.
we basically did is oftentimes with family-run organization, which means that 51% of our board, as well as I want to say about 94% of our staff have some kind of family experience with either a child that they're raising with mental or behavioral health challenges, a loved one that they're raising with behavioral mental health challenges. A lot of the mainstream insurance companies, unfortunately, don't support family or fund family support, so we're able to build access. And the health plans, we're contracted with each one of the health plans, and we have been for 36 years, I think 20 of which has been here in Lake Havasu. But oftentimes, when people come to try to get our services, unfortunately, there's that uninsured, underinsured population that we're not able to serve. So within this grant, we should be able to serve 75, which should get the sustainability of the parent or of the family, if that makes sense.
And you said that this is for funding not necessarily behavioral health, but peer support?
It's behavioral mental health.
Okay,
is
so
what
it is
we're
an
calling
access billable service, but this is for children who are underinsured or uninsured.
Yes.
The portion of the family support is, so the training would not necessarily.
I'm sorry,
but-
but when you're speaking, can you come to the mic so we
absolutely.
make
I'm
sure we
sorry.
get it?
So the training portion of it that we're trying to accomplish is not something that would be covered under access. We can provide services to families who do have access, but what we see a lot of times is we're turning people away who would benefit from our services, but because their insurance doesn't cover it, or they just don't have insurance and maybe don't qualify for access. So that's the uninsured, underinsured portion of it.
Okay, so that's not necessarily that training part. That's, I think you said parenting now
Yeah.
or something. Okay.
Yeah.
These are good questions. Sorry. Yeah, we're trying to answer the best we can. They're the managers that do the direct support, so that's why I keep shuffling them up.
And then this one, so that the one full-time staff will be directly, they'll carry a caseload of 75?
That's going to be uninsured or underinsured individual. Generally, what's our caseload that we carry?
So our providers generally carry a caseload of up to 20 children or 20 families. And so with that, we'll be using some of our existing resources along with what's provided for in the grant.
Yes.
Any questions about this one?
Mental and behavioral health is not easy to explain. It's just so hard. I mean, there's so many different aspects that come with it. I think, yeah.
Okay.
But hopefully we did our best.
Yep.
And we would really love your support.
And just for the record, can I get your name and the
My name is James Beecher, and that's Miss Nancy Osborne.
thank you.
And how many families have you guys helped in Havasu, just in our area?
So right now.
Wait, hold on.
If you have questions, you need to come up to the podium and state your name.
Okay. Hi, my name is Karen Woodrum, and I'm just wondering, in Havasu, how many families have they helped? And is it on paper or, I mean, because any organization could say they do so much. You should always have a paper trail. So I'm just wondering, how many families have you helped in Havasu?
I can tell you that, okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I can tell you that as of right now, I don't know the exact number, but we do serve about between 40 to 60 families right now in Lake Havasu. And that's about the average that we do right now. And it's been over 20 years, so that Mike has been, in the area.
And I'm sorry, I missed that number. What was that?
40 to 60.
40 to 60?
40 to 60 over 20 years?
No.
Oh,
Right now.
Here.
No, currently we serve.
oh, this year, okay.
So currently we serve about 40 to 60 families.
Okay.
Depending on direct support, family support, and the difference between that is direct supports are those supports that are done directly with the child, and then the family supports are done through with the parent, working with the parent. And a lot of those come from our Parent Support Now program that's already in existence that we also coordinate with the courts to get families help right away.
Okay, I just heard from Kelly Gary, and the audience can't ask the applicants questions, only the panel.
Sorry, I didn't know.
I mean,
We didn't know either.
We didn't know
whatever
either.
works, yeah.
We're new to it too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the coalition alone? Can we take statements? Kelly, there is a member of the public that would like to approach the podium. I'm assuming not a question, but a statement. Is that allowable?
They can come up during the public hearing portion and speak, yes.
Okay.
At the end. Oh.
Once I open the public hearing, so we'll have to have a motion and then we can do it. Thank you. Okay. Barring no further questions, I'd like to go on to Haven Family Resource Center.
I felt like that one gave a lot of information and really positive.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good. Okay. Open table. Or I guess, are there any representatives from Haven that would like to address and then moving on to open table? Okay. Anything about open table?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Anybody? Open table?
No concerns? We're good?
Don't have anybody.
Okay.
She'd like to talk about Open Table.
Oh, okay.
Any comments?
Is there a representative from Open Table here?
I think,
Thank you.
Yep.
She came in.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Clark, and I am with the Open Table.
Okay. Jennifer, can you tell us about where you stand now with the two schools that you did the test piloting in? How are they doing? How are you measuring their success? Where are you leading them onto?
Okay, so we have one currently in Havasu, and they're almost at the end of their project. They have all new windows, all new doors, crash bars. The teacher that needed periodontic medical support, that was all taken care of. So they're nearing the end of their priority support list, and the things that they're going to be able to do, the money that we were able to help them save in some of these things by not having to put into the windows and doors, crash bars and everything else, they're able to put back into their staff. So they're able to increase their staff wages and things like that a little bit more. The windows that they had were single pane windows, and they were paying an arm and a leg for electricity every month. So it's things that they're going to be able to re-put back into their school. Also, because of the community connections that they made throughout the process with Network Table, they have an extensive set of resources that they can connect to if they do have any other issues, because what they had been doing previous to that was kind of a barter system. They would reduce tuition so that they could have somebody come in and fix things. That's not going to pay teachers. That's not going to take care of the staff needs. That's going to be really difficult. The other program that child care center that this did work for was one in Phoenix called the Zion Institute. And they created Zion Early Learning Academy. They had a network table that was the first of its kind before it was officially anything. They do extensive research and mapping and making sure that they keep everything in line. That school has become a Center for Excellence, for preschool excellence. They have their own curriculum now that they're able to model and give to other preschools, but they've been operating very, very successfully for the last 5 or 6 years. And another thing that they did, because they were not able to increase their staff wages, they had a food pantry actually installed in the facility, and people still fill that food pantry today. So even though they may not be able to raise their staff salaries, they don't have to worry about getting food. They don't have to make the choice between getting food or their teaching salary. So they're covered on that end. That food is also accessible for all of the students and families as well. So if students are coming into the facility and they don't have access to food, they can also use that pantry to send food home to the families. So they've been doing really well. Are there any other questions?
And I just want to clarify. So we have full-time staff who are working, getting paid, and who cannot afford to eat.
Correct. Because the way that the child care system is, like, they're operating on the very bottom rung, the very bare minimum of
Minimum wage?
Yes, minimum wage. That's what it is. Thank you. Yes, they're operating on minimum wage, and some of these teachers have been teaching for 20 years. They're making $12 an hour. They can't feed their families.
Since this project has gone on this center, has there been is there stability in the staff that's staying there?
Yes, and that was one of the major reasons for assisting with the periodontic disease, because she'd been there for 30 years. And if you lose a teacher that's been there for 30 years, that center is going to really, really struggle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay.
You say you have 510 volunteers. I'm sorry. Explain what your volunteers do.
So the volunteers are all of the volunteers that would serve on a network table. So there is very little staff involvement for Open Table, but all of the volunteers are all people that are serving on either core tables or network tables, and they're all over the country. They're serving people with mental illness. They're serving people with in underprivileged communities. They're serving people in school districts, foster care agencies, people in and out of rehabilitation programs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, moving on to Covenant Church Lake Havasu. Do we have any questions from the council or the coalition?
I did not.
No?
That's good.
Is there a representative
think
here
so.
from Covenant who would like to address the coalition?
Hello, I'm Keith Johnson, Director of Outreach Ministries at Covenant Church, and just want to thank you for your support. I've got no other comments, but available for any questions you may have.
I will just make the comment that it's very impressive that you were able to leverage a lot of your the work done through volunteers. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that and including that in your budget modification. Okay, moving on to Grace Episcopal Church. Do we have any questions for Grace Episcopal, since now they are included within this budget here? Do we have a representative from Grace Episcopal Church who would like to address the coalition today?
Hello, my name is Shauna Schneikart, and I represent Grace Episcopal Church. I'm the senior warden, and I would just like to thank you for the opportunity to allow us to submit for this grant. We're a very small church. We have one paid person, and we look forward to any support you may make available to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to Women with Willpower. No questions?
No questions.
I don't have any.
Any questions? Okay. Is there a representative from Women with Willpower who would like to address the coalition?
My name is Rhonda Miller, and I am president of Women with Willpower. And I would like to say thank you. We are the last resort for the women in Lake Havasu. When no one else has money, they send them to us. Just about everyone in this room has sent a woman to us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And then we have now a new contender, Community Health Department Foundation. Any questions from the coalition?
I think they're online.
Oh, and we have a representative online from the Community Health Department Foundation?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can. Could you please state your name?
My name's Erica Murchison, and I'm the Director of Grants for the Community Health Development Foundation.
Thank you for joining us. Erica, it doesn't sound like the coalition has any questions for you. Is there anything that you would like to share with us today?
Just like others have said, just thank you for your consideration of our application. We are really excited to start up this program in the community, and the support from the city would be really helpful.
Erica, I do have a question for you. One thing that came up in all of the reviews of your document, your application, was that you seem to be duplicating efforts that are already available in the community. Would you address, please, how your resources are going to be any different than what we already have?
So our program is a navigation program. So we would hire a single person who would help people in the community find resources available to meet their needs. And I think what makes our program unique is that we meet or our navigator would support any type of need. So it could be with rental assistance or utility assistance or food insecurity, or it could be health related. It could be legal assistance. It could be transportation help. And then we augment that with classes or education groups, which I actually ended up cutting the funding out for, though I think that we would look for funding from other sources to make that happen. But we develop a community advisory board, and that board would give us suggestions on what might be most beneficial for the community, and we would work and find funding to meet those needs.
But some of what you're proposing to do is already done by Covenant Church, the Closed Closet, Calvary, United Way. I think our biggest question was, why do you see a need for this when a lot of people already know that these resources are available through other groups?
Yeah, so we're not trying to actually provide any services. Our goal is only to help people navigate through what sources are available. And so what we have found is that people often have multiple things going on in their lives. And so this way, it's like a single source that they can go to who can help them get connected to various resources that they might need.
Okay, thank you. It is a duplication of efforts, you know that.
We discussed that at the beginning, I feel like, but.
So, could you help us understand how this is, how the patient navigation services, a patient navigator, I think is what it's called, is a paid patient navigator is different than other organizations that have paid staff to help navigate resources. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So our program, what we do is we have it's a QR code. We use a software program called Unite Us. People can just use this QR code. That's how they refer to a service. That's one way they can do it. They can also go to our website, or they can call, or they can walk in. We will have a community space where people could walk in. And so the idea is that people can be at the doctor, happen to mention, maybe they're concerned about where their next meal may come from. The doctor can hand them this QR code, say, go to this navigator, and the navigator can then help them determine what resources are going to best meet their needs. We also will give them it's a screening form, so it'll ask them all kinds of questions about what kind of services and resources that they might need. So sometimes people might not be thinking about the three things that are going on at any given moment, but the most immediate need. And so this way, our navigator can help them determine all of the resources that they might need and help connect them to those resources directly also.
I believe that was the one that I wrote a comment on, that they would work well with. Right now, United Way is housing the system that the ASU students worked on, compiling all the different organizations, that would help them as well. So I guess there is that duplication in there. Okay. But sometimes I feel like they don't know that the other people are out there doing it.
And I'm gonna ask that from staff, because I do have a couple of questions that go between two grant applications that we have. One is River Cities United Way, and then one is this one that we have in front of us, Community Health Department Foundation. The Community Health Department Foundation does ask for a patient navigator to be funded using the Unite Us database, whereas River Cities, River Cities United Way is proposing that they fund the community health worker and the SUMAC system. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like very much parallel people and parallel systems that are not necessarily the exact same. So could you educate us on what, maybe not talking about the other program, but what yours is?
Because I'm unaware of what that program is. But for the community health worker, that is exactly what the community health worker does. They help them, whether it's medical, whether it's a resource, they help each individual navigate through all of the different systems. The difference is that we are collecting that data, and the bigger point of what we're trying to do is try to help fund other nonprofit agencies with different programs that we can bring to the community. We're seeing a lot of different gaps that are happening in our community, but we don't have the numbers or the data to back it up. Many people are falling through the crack. Just yesterday, I had a homeless guy that was on my doorstep, right? He had defecated himself. I called 4 different resources. No one could help. So it's those kinds of things that we need to track, and we need to know why, so that we can start saying, okay, Veterans United, how can we go after a grant so that we can get these things covered, so that we can make sure that these people do not have loss of dignity and loss of, feeling that way. So more and more, everyone's showing up at my office looking for these resources. But if we have somebody that sits with them and walks them through the process, that's what we want. They will also be working with the Community Resource Center directly right out of there. So that's where 90% of the people are going to. And that's what the hope is that we have that one area that people are going to, so that we can help navigate them and we can collect that data so we can get more funding, bigger funding into the community, so that we can help multiple resources out here.
Thank you.
I have a question, Debbie. So in that case, you're tracking the individual, right?
Yes.
So you're tracking, which will help you for grants later, but you're also tracking so there won't be duplication of services.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
All of the above. If they get denied for a program, why did they get denied? So that we can track those denials. And it's not as a negative side effect. It's just saying, what are these reasons? Because we have all kinds of reasons that we're seeing on a constant basis, but now we have a track record showing up over and over and over. So now we know how to better mitigate it or find some solutions by working together, so that we can collectively come together and really unite around each other, so that we can make better programs and better I guess, flow with all the services. If one person is doing money for hotel stays, one person is doing rent and utilities, and another person is doing, showers, we're hitting all of those key pieces. And that's what I hope to accomplish moving forward with all of the agencies. Not to be against, but before all of them. That's what we do, is we fund all of our nonprofits. And how can I build a bigger solution so that we can get bigger dollars and bigger funding coming into our area here?
Yeah, it's good.
And I decreased mine by 35%, not just 20%, because I totally feel that multiple programs out here need to be funded and need to have these services and these programs that are available. But you're right, duplication of services, that's one thing. That's the whole reason why we have this process, because duplication of services is not working in our favor. It is just stepping on each other's toes, and it's not like moving us forward as a community, as a coalition of nonprofits and services that we want to provide for the community. Is that good?
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Erica, could you answer my question? Do you know what the difference between the Unite Us software database that you're proposing versus this, what is the benefit of the Unite Us software?
Unite Us is they call it a closed loop referral system. So it has service providers in the area are in a big database there, so that our navigator can go in and see what kind of services are available for a specific need, and can refer through the software to the service provider. And so we can track that needs have been met. So we can actually see we can see the closed loop. So we can see that somebody got the service met. We can see how it was met, how long it took. Unite Us also provides us with all of the reporting. So we can track numbers of people served, what type of services they received, demographic information and things like that. It also has an electronic version of the screening and assessments that we use for people. So it's just kind of our one-stop software shop, essentially.
Is there any outward access to that database? So like if you are seeing that, if your navigator is seeing that, maybe there's a request for showers, or that there is an uptick in people seeking services in mental health, is there something that can be pulled out from that and shared within the public without violating HIPAA?
No. As far as I know, no. But we could run like aggregated reports to show, like, for the city or for, grant related reporting requirements. But I don't think there's a way for that to be publicly available.
Okay. And with running those reports, does it go down to the zip code area? Do you know?
Yes, it can. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions?
I can just speak on behalf of the SUMAC database that I am pulling together, is that I don't need to have organizations apply to be in the system in order to navigate the system. I can pull all that data and not violate any HIPAA rules or laws, however I want to pull the reports. So it's a lot of ways of really mitigating a lot of our services.
So Unite Us, people can get into Unite Us without, our navigator can enter organizations in Unite Us also. So we're not violating HIPAA by just having organizations in Unite Us. It's pulling out any sort of personal data for a report that could, depending on what level of information how deep you're trying to drill down, essentially.
Okay. And is there, so it's up to the patient navigator in your program to input the community organizations, is that correct?
It can either be done by the navigator or it can be done by the organization themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, can you state your name?
I'm Debbie Pennington with River Cities United Way.
Thank you.
So, I just want to discuss with the coalition. So I've looked at both of these applications just based on the information. It sounds like these two would be a duplication of each other, especially when looking at a patient navigator. And then this other program that uses a oh, I can't see, community health worker. I will say that going back to the point system, if we were to, I would recommend that we fund only one of them, either or River Cities United Way or this other applicant, just because it does seem to be a duplication of programs, and that's putting out into the into the community, as well as if we do fund both, we have that chance of having two databases that are competing against each other. We would either be looking at Unite Us or this SUMAC, and I feel like if we promote two different databases where the community can reach services, then we're not being as intentional as we could be, and it can lead to confusion. And I am seeing a hand raised in the public. I'm not sure of the process. We cannot have,
no.
When we please hold your question when we open up for the community to discuss. So that's my first recommendation. And then my thought is if we take that into consideration and go back to the points, we recognize that River Cities United Way did score higher on our rubrics than the Community Health Department Foundation. And so I would like to see if there's any comments or questions or thoughts on that.
I would like to direct a question to River Cities, if you wouldn't mind coming forward. If you were to create this database, if an outside charitable organization was to call River Cities United Way and they had a patient that they wanted to help or a customer, is there a way that this database would help us discover how many places this patient may have gone for help?
100%.
And also to find out, have they asked for utilities? Have they asked for medical, rent? And that way we'd see how often it is done and how much they have received from different agencies.
Absolutely.
That's very important.
That is the one big thing that we need to really crack down on, and that's exactly one of the main key components of why we're doing what we're doing. Everybody that comes, and that's with the community health worker, and that's why the case management is because we're going to start tracking all of that data for every agency that they go to.
And how will these outside agencies or charitable organizations be able to contact River Cities to get this information from you?
Just the main number, or I can give out my business line or even my cell phone number, and then we can pull the data for them.
Okay.
Or at any point, any one of my staff members, because we'll all be trained on the system, you'll be able to contact, or even at the clothes closet or the Havasu Hope Resource Center, you'd be able to call directly to any one of them, and they can look up the individual and be able to tell you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Can I actually have a question that piggybacks?
I have another, go ahead.
So, sorry. Go ahead.
No, if you're piggybacking, go.
Oh, so you brought up a point about having outside organizations. So I'm thinking about folks that go into the ER, emergency room, and who end up there, or not ER, emergency department, the ED, at night. Is that system going to be accessible when it's not manned?
We can figure that out. We can find a solution for that.
So, and I guess
I have multiple users I can put on there, and I can limit or make the accessibility high or low depending on what they can and cannot do within the system. But yes.
Okay. So is it just an internal facing system for someone who's in it, or is it an outward facing? So I'm somewhere, I scan a QR code and I say, oh, I need this. Or is it connection to a person who can help guide through that?
It's a connection to a person to guide through it, because we don't want just somebody. I mean, people can go and fill out a form on our website and it'll automatically go download into the system. And then from there, I can send it to one of the community health workers. And that's a possibility too, is making the community health worker maybe an on-call one. And maybe they take turns doing that on-call for a shift like that. So definitely doable and definitely easy to find a solution to those answers.
Thank you.
Okay, so my question was going back to Community Health Department Foundation. If a little over $69,000 was for the patient navigator, can you just clarify what the other costs were to get up to $114,000? Oh, $110,000? What's the other $40,000 in it?
I think the only other cost it's a 2-year it's like a 1.5 year program, and it includes salary and fringe. And then my only other cost was a few $100s for materials and supplies, which are just like basic,
Yeah.
things always come up kinds of things.
Okay. Yep, that is what it was. Okay, I was just, if there was something else that was really different, I didn't want us to miss it. Okay, thanks.
I would also like to note that mine will become a billable service. So I only need just initial startup costs so that I can just get the project rolling. And then eventually we'll be able to bill for insurances. And then it's a sustainable program that will be forever, and we can hopefully add additions to it in the future. So we could have one specific to veterans, one specific to the homeless, one specific to the families and seniors.
If you are not the agency that is funding a request from someone, and another agency funds something for utilities or rent, is that information eligible to be input into your database so that you have a record of where else they may have received?
Absolutely. Okay. Or if they've gone to, let's say, Salvation Army and got their utilities paid, and then came to United Way and tried to get their utilities paid, and then contacted WACOG and tried to get their, yes. Okay. That's a big problem that we have that we're trying to really cut down on.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
And how can we better come together as nonprofits and be a little bit more strategic in how we're working together too? That's my ultimate goal over the next year.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
No.
And that is the last. I do want to thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
I do want to backtrack, and I don't feel like I gave enough opportunity to any representatives from Faith and Grace or the Closed Closet to come forward. Would anyone from there like to address the coalition?
Thank you. I wondered about that. I really just want to thank the coalition. We're honored to be considered and appreciative of the money. We work with a lot of the agencies, and I talked to a couple of them today, trying to come up with solutions for our ladies and our children. So thank you very much.
And could you please state your name and organization?
Oh, of course. I'm City Clerk. I'm the president of Faith and Grace.
Thank you very much. Would the Closed Closet like to address the council? Coalition? Sorry. We're all a coalition.
Not the council.
Hi, I'm Christine Watson with the Closed Closet / Havasu Hope. And I just want to thank so much for this wonderful coalition and bringing us all together. And I just want to say that Debbie and I have been working for several years together on this database and trying to get it up and running in the Havasu Hope building. So my whole goal is this Havasu Hope building is going to be a one-stop shop, so people can come in and then I can refer out to people in different, and that's what we do now, but it'll be much easier in a building. And like yesterday, I've had Haven House referred a domestic violence situation to us. And so I turned around and called Kathy and said, hey, what can we do here? And so we got the situation fixed and she took it over, and that's what she does. I'm not here to replace all the resources in our community. I'm here to bring us all together. And then with the help with United Way, with the database system that we've been working on to get rid of all the duplicate people that are going from place to place to place. And the system that we've been working on is going to be phenomenal. And so we're really excited about it. So we've been working on this for a long time. And so it's almost there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. May I ask staff, since we have had some discussion here, could you bring up the points again and to include Impact 928? I think that was the next one on the numbers. I'd like to see what's next.
It drops quite a bit.
If it drops, yes.
It does. Here.
Oh, you have it here? Okay. I think the audience would like to.
928 goes. And you drop down again.
To 370.
Where we go from here down to here.
378.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we had 1 point difference between Community Health Department Foundation, Impact 928.
And again, it's duplicating efforts.
Impact 928 is?
Do you want to discuss?
Yes,
Since we're going
let's
down the
discuss.
list,
Since we're going down the list,
that
let's
one too.
discuss Impact 928, please.
Okay. Is there anyone here from Impact 928?
Is there a
Okay,
representative
good.
from Impact 928?
Hi, my name is Christy Donaldson, and I'm a volunteer for Impact 928.
So you didn't go through the process of cutting 20% because you didn't have that option.
Exactly. And I'm their accountant, and I would have been happy to. That's what I do.
Do you want
Do you have questions?
Would you like them to
Did you
go
have
over
a
their
question?
program a little bit?
I do have a question. Is part of the application, you stated that you could provide up to $7,000 to help with refurbishing the home facilities to make them more accessible and safer and whatever you need there. How is, pardon me, how are you differentiating that from the federal housing money that's already available through the city that people may apply for?
So I apologize, I'm not familiar with the federal because the people who really do know this stuff were not able to be here. That's why the accountant is here. But I can tell you, at least I know the process that we've gone through. The funds that we have already distributed were distributed after any funds that they were able to get from any other venue. And a lot of what we have found that we've been doing is, and they may have said this already, fencing around pools, and they're very strict about poles and things around. It's very detailed, and I understand because you have children in your home, but we even are set back a little bit by how much they request of these people. So the federal funding, I apologize, I'm not familiar with that. Kim Tuba is, she's our representative for our fosters, but I do know what we've distributed came when everything else was exhausted.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask, a large portion of your application is centered around trying to create more foster care homes available and so that they meet licensing requirements. I see that you have a list of community organizations that are included on this, but not all of the foster care licensing organizations are. So is it the intent that only those licensing agencies that are on here would have access to these funds, or is this open to all licensing agencies?
Open to all licensing agencies, and the fact that we are 928 Impact, that is our zoning, is anyone with the area code of 928. So it reaches out to anybody in that area code.
I would like to make sure we understand that 928 for Mojave County or 928 for Lake Havasu City?
Mojave County. Lake Havasu is our primary focus, but we want it to be able to be the whole county.
Could you estimate how many people you're serving that are Lake Havasu versus others
Only
in the
Lake
county?
Havasu right now, to be honest.
Right now,
it
it's
has
only
just been Lake Havasu.
You
Yes.
just want to branch out, okay.
Correct. Like I say, it is our focus, but we put 928 Impact, so we are very open to other people asking us.
It's not that we don't want to fund everyone, but this is for Lake Havasu.
Of course. And we have found, I will just share this with you because I came in, like I say, to volunteer for finances. I had no idea the chaos that was in our foster system, especially since COVID. I had no idea how short we were on families and that these kiddos were being sent to Kingman. And, you know, it just breaks your heart. They're already going through this. And so it is our passion. There's a need here. It's where our focus is. But we named our organization 928, and we will hold up to that.
Can you talk about your recruitment plan in gathering interest for foster families within the 928 area?
As far as finding the families in need,
finding the families in need, correct? Who
So
would
far,
be
that has
interested in
come
being
directly
foster-
from the agencies to us. Kim Tuba, like I said, who is one of our volunteers, is a foster parent, and so she is very close with a lot of the people and the agencies and the procedures. So she basically has taught me about some of the procedures, but she is our expert on that.
Are there any questions or comments from the coalition? Okay. Are you with Impact 928?
No, but I sit on the foster care review board, and I can address as to the kids, how far they're spread out.
Can you please wait until we open up for public comment? Thank you very much. Okay. All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you. Okay. Now let's see if I can find my agenda through all of my paperwork that I have here.
Got it?
Do you have it? Okay, thank you. So I think we're going to conclude this part of the meeting, and then do we need a motion to open it up for public comment?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be the next step.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I motion we open it up for public comment.
Oh, we need a motion on.
Yeah, you don't, no motion, just open it up for public comment.
Okay, we are going to open it up for public comment. So, ma'am, yes, anybody who had their hand raised and wanted to speak may now come forward. And please don't forget to state your name and if you represent an organization, what organization that is.
My name is Vicki Mee, M-E-E-H. Nobody spells it right. I'm actually here with Women with Willpower, but I do sit on the foster care review board, and I can talk to where our kids are. The kids are in Yuma, Flagstaff, Colorado City, and all points in between. So if they can get more houses here that are foster families, it will make a big difference because I will tell you, for visitation purposes, the kids or the parents, sometimes it's a 6-hour trip, 3 hours down to Phoenix and 3 hours back. So if we had more places here in town that the kids could stay, that would be a huge help. That's all.
Thank you.
Good evening again. My name is Frankie Lyons, Veterans United Arizona, co-founder and CEO of Veterans United Arizona. One of the issues that I had was with my kid. It's a great organization. I've kind of followed it and looked it up, but they're asking for money. What are they renting here? From what I understand, they're renting a room at the aquatic center 1 day a week. It's not like it's a constant that I know of. And I don't feel that for their safety, they need something where they can go to every day because of the weather. It changes and stuff like that. And I'm kind of worried about that. And then we network already with United Way. They've been excellent with us. They call me, I call them. And I network with the clothes closet, and it's imperative that we're all consistent. We're worried about double dipping with everybody because we've seen it time and time again. And it's important that the information she has and the software that she has, that we'll be able to stop the double dipping and then go from there. So I'm just curious about, what they're renting, for 200-some thousand, or what are they renting here? Because I think they have 3, maybe 4 representatives. And then, although we'd like to help them, but, what is the money actually going for?
Please come forward.
Kathy D. Clark from Faith and Grace. I'd like to say I understand some of the foster care concerns. We have a mother who has one child in Yuma, the other child in Kingman. And those are long trips. Sometimes they're canceled. If they could be in our community, it would be a much better reunification for the families. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Please.
My name is Tom Sanders, and I'm on the advisory council for the Soup Kitchen, as well as the Soup Kitchen volunteer. I've watched the program on TV, I've listened to the information on the rubric, and I'm really concerned that the Soup Kitchen tied, a three-way tie for community need. So we were in fourth place on a three-way tie at 94 points. But at the same time, in sustainability, now we've been doing this for 21 and a half years, sustainability, we came in 18th place. We really sucked when we did an application. Anyway, program evaluation. Basically, we fed 1,500 people in December, but we came in 18th place in the rubric. Okay, we were, yeah, 918, but 18. Organizational budget was 8th place. And then our partnership innovation, we were 15th place. So when I look at it, you know, it says no other organization in Lake Havasu City provides a balanced 3-meal sit-down meal, 3-course meal. We've been doing it for years. We plan on continuing to do that. And what we really asked for was funds for food. That's what keeps our organization going, is having food for the community need. Thank you for listening, and I know you have a difficult job ahead of you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who would like to approach the podium?
Linda Nitschke from Our Lady of Lake Soup Kitchen. I'll just follow up with my volunteer and council member who was brave enough to come up here. So just want to thank you again for your consideration in the application. I congratulate all the agencies who did make it, and I actually wish the board good luck. It's got to be a very tough job sitting where you're sitting. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know if it was Debbie Pennington from United Way or who said it, but I think an important thing to remember is if you're not getting it or you're not getting as much, if you're working with these other people, you're getting it secondary. It's going to flow through, right? So that made me feel better, whichever one of you pointed that out.
And I'd also like to comment that if we had based our scoring on
Hold on 1 second. Wait.
Go ahead.
Before
Council?
you guys have any more comment or discussion. So
Was it they had to close the public?
So we're going to have to let that.
So did she say?
Yeah. So if there's no one else that wants to speak for the public hearing, go ahead and close that, and then you can bring it back for discussion between the
My apologies
coalition
for,
members.
for not knowing this, but we're going to close the public.
Can I say one thing?
Oh, we have one more.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely.
I am a retired nurse, and my name is Karen Woodrum. Sorry, Karen Woodrum. And I just want to say I'm a retired nurse, and in 2000 I had back surgery. And I needed help because my insurance only covered one item, like a wheelchair. Really, they didn't even cover the wheelchair. They covered a walker. And I needed a wheelchair, everything. I called around, and Veterans United went ahead and supplied me with a wheelchair and walker and shower chair and all this stuff. And they had a program where anybody, not just a veteran, they have a storage full of medical supplies that they get donated. And that program right there, a lot of insurances don't cover. A lot of us don't get access. So I am on set income, and I was in so much need because now I'm paralyzed where I could only stand. I can't even hardly walk without assistance. And I'm just saying they do so much. Even for our veterans, they take our veterans to their appointments because there's no other place that people have van and transport. They've done their own vehicles. They take our veterans, not just veterans. They also take anybody that is in need. And I don't know if you guys know this, but they do all of that kind of stuff. They feed them. They go out to the homeless. They do all of this. And I was just wondering, why, before you chose 1 through 9, why didn't you have a meeting like this and talk with everybody, talk with all of them, not, everyone that applied for this grant? Why didn't you give them the opportunity to talk to you guys? That way you know that instead of 3 other organizations getting it, we know for sure she's the main help here in Havasu. You got to know the main person that helps the foster kids and not just, it just irritates me because some of these places that you're doing are not Havasu. We need to help us first, not just bullheading, you mind this and that. Yes, we are Mojave County and we try to help, but there is so much need here. We need help here first. And that's all I got to say. I'm sorry.
No apologies. Are there any other comments from the public?
Can I make another comment on my kid?
I feel like my kid needs to come up.
Yes, is that okay? Kelly, we have a call from the public from someone who wants to make a comment on one of the other applicants. Is that okay?
They can. If it's inappropriate, we can stop it.
Okay.
If what?
If you're inappropriate, we will stop it.
Oh, you know I'm better than that, Kelly. Come on. I only go after the mayor. Come on. My incident on my kid is you're going to give them money. We're going to pay for other agencies to learn from them. I think the agency should be responsible for whoever they want to have taught. I know it couldn't be that much to teach somebody what they're doing. So it's extensive in training, but working with other agencies, they should be responsible for their own people being trained.
Okay. Are there any other comments? Okay. So we are going to once again close the public comment portion of the meeting and bring it back for discussion within the coalition.
I would just like all of you to know that we really wanted to fund all 19 of these applications, and there wasn't really a way to do that with $1 million. It would have knocked you down so much. And the idea of having a matrix and a scoring rubric really made this a lot more emotional, or made it more unemotional. And that was what we needed, because we all understand the need in our community. We want to help everybody, and we know we can't. So we had to base it on facts as they were given to us and try to keep the emotions out of it. And that was very, very difficult.
Thank you.
Maybe reevaluate it all.
I'm sorry, I have to leave. Go get my kid.
Okay, thank you. Because I would just open this up as part of the discussion because there is a lot of question, it seems, from us that has come up as well as the audience. I would like to address any questions or concerns the coalition has on funding programs that reach out to Mojave County and not just within Lake Havasu City. Is there any concerns about
Well, I think that they're going to be responsible for showing the response back to the city every quarter, reporting back, I should say. And in the reporting back, they have to show proof that it's just based in Lake Havasu City, not throughout 928 or Mojave County. I think that their information that comes back to us, they have to complete their financials and whatever and explain how it's spent based off of just Lake Havasu. It can include other areas, so that will limit them on what they do in other areas as well.
I'm going to bring up a comment on that, though. For instance, where are you bringing people for a drug rehab here in Lake Havasu City? I'll ask the board that. Where are you going to bring them?
We know we don't have money.
There is, exactly, and that was my point. So if you're funding other areas, if we don't offer those services, I think it's justified in doing that.
It's affecting the residents.
Pardon?
It affects the residents.
It does affect the residents, but what I'm saying is, if we are funding something in Kingman through, I don't know, United Way or somebody, I believe that it's a justified thing, that should be allowable. I can't see us saying, oh, it just has to go to Havasu and that's it. But I agree, it should be our Havasu residents and our people that live here, obviously, so. I just want to make that a point.
There were a couple of comments made about going outside. As far as Impact 928 going into Mojave County, I know that recruiting for foster care within Lake Havasu City would be a feat of it on, a huge feat. So I think we have to face that if we can get if we can create more licensed foster care homes within Mojave County, that's going to do our children better. Because that would prevent them from going to Phoenix. It would prevent them to going to Flagstaff. So I personally, I don't have an issue with that. We do have some questions about my kid though, that keep coming up. And I just want to make it very clear for the council, are we all going to feel good about that? Because it is going out. It is, like you said, is this available? All those things, we have questions from the audience, and I want to leave here today knowing that we've done what's best with this $1 million that we have. We all good?
And
go ahead.
Yes.
What do you suggest? I'm sorry, what are you suggesting? At this point, are we talking about removing Community Health Department Foundation and replacing it with Impact, since they're only off by 1 point? But a huge amount of money difference here.
Well, I think anything that we would replace, that we would ask for the 80%, just like we had the other ones. I do think if we want to focus in on those ones that I had mentioned earlier.
I'm sorry, I turned it off.
Is that our time up? Okay, we have 28 minutes. We have to make a decision in 28 minutes.
Evaluate all of it. I think that would be a great idea.
So,
I'm sorry, I shut it off.
No, that's okay. So in going forward, I think that River Cities United Way, when I just look at how can we just logically go through each one of these organizations and think, where can we really make sure we're not duplicating as much as possible? Where are we funding in the right areas? I think I can safely say that I believe that River Cities United Way's proposal, as well as the Community Health Department Foundation, are duplications of each other.
I agree.
And from that standpoint, I think that we, is just to take one decision away from this committee, this coalition now, is we have to decide which one of those two are we going to fund. And my suggestion would be, going back to the rubric, and based off of the connection and the application itself, that we fund River Cities United Way and remove Community Health Department Foundation as an organization that we will fund.
I agree.
I would be in agreement.
We scored them with all the collaboration and everything they do, so.
Okay. And so being with that, that would put if we go back to the matrix that had the funding amount on there, that is approximately $110,000 that can go back into what this coalition is looking at for an available budget. And so I want to look to our staff to see if we remove that and put in, if we remove the Community Health Department Foundation from that ranking.
If you remove them and add, are you adding, or you just want to know what's left?
I said, let's go with what's left for right now.
Okay.
Including the 27,000.
Yep.
So that's 137,089.
Maybe 137,000.
Yes. 137,000.
That we could give to.
And that would go to Impact 928.
Impact 928.
So it would go to Impact 928.
Which is within their 80%.
Okay. So then we would go back to Impact 928 and ask for a revised budget like we did with the other ones at 80% a proposal.
Well, actually, it's less than their 80%. Their 80% would be 201.
Yeah.
Right, their 80% would be 252,000, and we would only be offering 141,000.
Yeah.
Are we doing the same discussion with my kid?
Okay, that's the one that comes up, so we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have.
I don't know.
Are we all good with feeling like Impact 928 should be included?
Yes.
With a revised
Yes.
80% budget? Okay, great. All right, let's go back to the next one that has just seemed to.
I don't think we can say with an 80% budget, I don't think we'll have that much money. But we should include them with whatever's left. Let's put it that way.
So the 141, or what would that,
Whatever
137,000.
that amount is.
whatever that amount is?
The 80% would have been 252,000 of their total budget. So the 141,000 is actually half of that. So they would qualify for just that amount.
141. Is there any concerns about asking an organization to do that, to slash their budget? No?
all of them 60%.
I'm sorry, the public commenting part is closed for right now, thank you. So we have 141,000 that we would, just based on this discussion, that we would feel comfortable allocating to Impact 928. And then, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just bringing up my kid again because of the situation of people bringing this up and because of our service area.
Okay.
Right. For discussion.
Any specific point that we want to make for discussion? Is it a yes or no, or is it that we want to reconsider their budget and look at how we can allocate those funds specifically within Lake Havasu City?
Yes.
Are there any other
What's the
questions? Pardon me? Oh, okay.
No other questions on it? They didn't address their rent after that was brought up. Do we
We
open that
weren't
again?
allowed-
No,
can we-
okay.
Do we want to ask that? Is that a specific question you would like to ask?
I don't know if it matters to everybody else. Okay. I mean, you can drive in, you could drive an hour away and do work, so I don't know that the rent is as necessary.
But I don't know that they gave us enough of a justification to give them this much money. That's the other question that we kicked around.
For training the trainer and the curriculum.
That's a lot of money for training.
Well, I was just surprised when you brought up that the school district has that as well. So, you know, if our big thing is that we're looking at duplication of services for the fact of trying to spread this around as much as we can, then we need to do that in all of them.
Okay. Are there any other questions? I have some questions in my mind that I would like to, if it's okay, close this part of the discussion with the coalition and open up for public comment so that we can ask these specific questions to representatives from my kid. Is that okay?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chair. Yep, you're not going to open public comment. If you have specific questions for specific applicants, they can come up and answer your specific questions, but the public hearing portion is done.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm sorry, we're going to have to grill you a little bit more. Okay.
That's okay.
So I think you've heard a lot of the discussion here. I think a lot of the concern that we're hearing from the public and within the coalition is how can we really ensure that these funds will be spent within Lake Havasu on Lake Havasu City children? And then let's pause there and then I'll ask my question.
So as far as with Lake Havasu, we're going to be holding the classes here. We're going to have a registration form. One of the requirements on the registration form is that if you're going to receive this training with these funds, then you have to be a resident of Lake Havasu to receive that. Then additionally, those folks who take those classes and get that training are going to be going out into your community. They're members of your community. And they're going to be training parents. They're going to be teaching this to parents of how to be active parents. One of the things that I heard here was I heard a lot about building more foster homes, making more foster homes available. What we are trying to do with our program is prevent you from needing those foster homes. And we do that. Our company has a history of doing that. Our company has a history of doing that here in the Lake Havasu area where our staff live here, our staff work here on a daily basis, not just once a week or twice a week when we do our services in the community. We do them sometimes in a room that we rent at the aquatic center when we need to. We do that so that we can try and reduce some of our overhead for that. We try to be diligent stewards of the money. We're a nonprofit. And we try to be diligent stewards of that money. So
I'm reading your ARPA application here, and it specifically says, my kid estimates that it will be able to certify 20 trainers in Mojave County. through the requested grant funding. That doesn't specify Lake Havasu City.
Yeah.
So that's our biggest question.
I can give you my assurances that we're only going to train people from Lake Havasu for that. Your residents, not residents of other cities.
That's a lot of people trained in one curriculum. Would there be any thought on decreasing the number of trainers served and how that would affect the budget, the amount that you have
Well, I
requested?
think that the proposal that we gave is, obviously, when we came back with, you requested the 80%, we were able to scale some of that back. And of course, if the city sees a need for something like that, we can definitely work on scaling that back. It just means that maybe less underinsured, uninsured, we can flex in those areas.
And I don't think the uninsured, underinsured is where we're concerned about. I think it's more of that training and the duplication of training. Am I correct in that? When I look at, you're proposing using a curriculum called
Active parenting.
Active Parenting, correct. And there's already a move to have a parenting class within Lake Havasu City that is free for participants, that's already funded and is not well attended. And so I think from my perspective, what's different from what's already available and how is that not a duplication?
I wouldn't want to, I really wouldn't want to speak against another parenting class without, I'm not as familiar with the Love and Logic. I can tell you though that with the active parenting, we've seen a lot of success. It goes into a lot of the things that, that parents need to just kind of learn, especially with kids who have behavioral health issues. I think that it kind of teaches and guides parents. It's an evidence-based curriculum. We're trying to reduce removals, not find more foster homes for the removals. Right. And not that that's not needed, but we're trying to prevent it on the front end and reduce your need for foster homes.
Right.
So, and then combined with the CPI training that we didn't talk a lot about that, but that's a de-escalation, nonviolent de-escalation type curriculum. Mm-hmm. It's something that we all go through for those types of situations. And we've seen when we teach active parenting and we teach CPI or therapeutic options, that when we teach that to parents with the active parenting, that we see a lot of success. We see reductions in abuse type situations, things like that.
I'm sorry, really quickly, those 20 trainers will be doing both, or you have it split in half? What's because
I believe that it's going to be probably both. Yeah, both. And I don't know that they'll necessarily all be, so one person or may have a need for the active parenting training certificate and one for the CPI, or they may have a need for both. So, it'll be individualized services.
And we Patrick Winters with My Kid, we really didn't want to make any additional comments. We believe, just sitting in here, I believe that everybody in here has a good heart. Everybody has good interest. And we didn't want to come up and try to defend or just really say anything, because it is about the families and the kids and preventing homeless. If we talk about homeless, in 2007, I was homeless. I didn't have a suit. I didn't have any of this. So I feel for you. I feel for everything everybody's doing in here. If you need us to go back and work on our budget, we're more than happy to. We want to preserve families. We want to keep kids out of foster care, keep them out of prisons. We want to keep them off of drugs. And that's what My Kid does. Right. And if you look at the spike, 1 in 4 Americans have a mental health challenge. I hate saying issue or illness. 1 in 4 Americans. And we're preventing that, and we're helping people.
Yeah. And I appreciate that comment. I think we all recognize anytime we can prevent the need for services so that we're not in this situation where we're making Sophie's Choice for $1 million is going to be much better.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any thoughts on, any other comments from the coalition to ask? No?
Do we need
a work session to work this out amongst ourselves?
That would be a question for staff. Is there an opportunity for a work session to occur?
It would have to be a public meeting.
So, and I guarantee you they'll all come.
I mean, you can have a work
Yes.
session,
Okay.
correct, Kelly, but it would be a public meeting.
Yeah, it would be a public meeting. What you're asking for doesn't qualify under one of the reasons to have an executive session.
Okay. Just from before I make comments and thoughts about this, do we need to, we can have this still open, right? We're not in public comment. Okay. So my thought is I hear what we're saying. I hear that I am a big fan of any kind of preventative program. I see the need. I see the need for CPI and family support staff, parenting programs and all those. I recognize that there is a question about, is this for Lake Havasu or for Mojave County? So my thought was that we would ask the applicant to restructure their budget and the proposal and resubmit to the staff about what that would look like if it was centered only on Lake Havasu City. Would we all feel better about that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, we'd be
Okay.
more than happy to do that.
Okay, thank you. That would mean that we could, if the coalition, thank you very much. Okay, we could, if the coalition would like, could move forward with approving the funds for Faith and Grace, the Closed Closet, River Cities United Way, Haven Family Resource Center, Open Table, Covenant Church, Grace Episcopal, Women with Willpower, and Impact 928 in the amount of $141,000 today. And then we could schedule another meeting once we have a week turnaround time with staff for the applicant's my kid to submit a proposal to the staff and then come back for another meeting to decide, is there what amount we would like to, if any, to my kid, or do we still go down to the next organizations on the list? Any discussions or thought or a proposal that would like to be made?
Well, I think also depending on what my kid comes back with, and we're funding everyone at 80%. So whatever they may or may not come back with in changing their budget, I think that because based off of what Impact 928 came with, $252,000, I think that if they're reducing their budget by something based off of Lake Havasu alone, those monies need to continue to Impact 928, not another agency below that.
Interesting, okay.
So can we go ahead and second your motion then, and as far as what you brought up? Is that what everybody wants to do with that?
It sounds like there is a question.
That's what it sounds like to me, just listening.
It could. I mean, we are asking for a greater reduction than 80%. So that would be fair that we would remove the Impact 928 and ask for a revised budget where that 141,000 would go to. That makes sense to me.
That makes sense.
Okay.
My kid and Impact 928.
Impact 928 and my kid, correct. And for the sake of continuity, if there is there an ability for, I'm trying to think about this, for staff to also think about if we need to go to the next one, which would we ask that now or would we ask for that?
Later.
I would like to have just one more meeting. Later? Later, so
One
we'll
more
just see
meeting.
what happens, one more
Yes.
meeting. But I mean, what I'm asking for
Drop
is
down more.
drop down more. We want to drop down a few more agencies to ask them to prepare anything?
Yes, let's do that. So everybody's ready at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to go to the next two. So the next two on our rubric was Child and Family Resources and the Lake Havasu City Historical Society. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Am I reading the right one?
museum.
Yes. Lake Havasu City Historical Society and Museum.
Heidi Edwards Cooking for Cancer Foundation is 1 point below.
And we're going to include the Heidi Edwards Cooking for Cancer
I mean, then
Foundation
there's a
because that
little
is
chunk.
off by
Yeah,
1
1
point
point.
between the two. And then we have another spur. So can we please ask staff to be in communication with those three organizations?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So I would like to see if we want to close the discussion and have a motion.
I would like to close the discussion, have the motion
Yeah, we
to
need
vote
that.
on those 8.
Yeah.
and ask for more
Well, I'll second
information.
that motion then, and let's go forward with it.
Okay.
Did I make the official motion or is that you? Let's clarify what
However
the
you wanna do
official
it.
motion is. Ms. Vice Chair Mann, would you like to make an official?
I would like to motion that we,
Approve the 8.
approve the 8, ask for revision on the 2, and close that.
And I'll
Is that
second
3?
that motion.
There are
3 Heidi
There's 3.
Edwards
Got
cooking,
3.
I saw,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
So we're approving 8.
Okay, wait, before we say that,
Yeah.
can we, let's go back before that becomes a real motion. So you're going to say, I move to recommend to the city council awarding, 80% of the budget or whatever it is and then list those eight organizations and then see if it gets seconded.
Okay. Did you get that? Or
Let's try that.
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, so I move to recommend to City Council that we award 80% of what was budgeted, so what was the revised budget for Faith and Grace, the Clothes Closet, River Cities United Way, Haven, Open Table, Covenant Church, Grace Episcopal, Women with Willpower, and that we ask for a revised budget from Impact 928 and My Kid Mentally Ill, Kids in Distress, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we have an official second on that?
Well, I'll second it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we've closed the public comment section. No, we cannot. We have a motion on the floor?
Okay, we're going to go for a vote. Members Mann,
Yes.
Member Klostermeyer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Denny,
Yes.
Member Surrey.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. All right. Agenda item number 8, future meeting dates and times.
I'm open.
Kelly, do you have any available?
I do. So there's a couple of dates that I do have available that would about a week out. I don't know if you want to take a look at that week, and then if that doesn't work, we can look at a different one. The week would be Monday, February 6th through Friday, February 10th. So for Monday, February 6th, the room is available all day. It's also available on Wednesday, February 8th, all day. On Thursday, it would be available from 8 to noon only. And Friday, it is available all day.
Is Zoom an option if I'm, okay, thanks.
Yes.
I'm good for any of those.
Are you good February 8th?
February 8th is a Wednesday. What time was that?
She said any time, correct? Any time on the 8th?
What time?
Yes.
Yes.
What time is that?
Anytime.
Kelly, do we have Tri-City on February 8th?
Mine would have to be after 2.
Yes, we
run
do.
meetings.
So I can't
Probably
be there,
should-
you can't be there.
Yeah, we probably should take the
February
8th
8th is
off.
not available.
Yes.
This room is not available, as you said?
Yes, staff would not be available that day.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
So we
How
have
about
Monday,
7th, 8th?
How about
all
Monday the
day.
6th?
How about we do Monday the 6th first thing in the morning? So if we have to come back, we have a quick turnaround.
I can't do that either. I'm stuck at a church
Lunchtime?
thing for pastor's deal. I can't.
Okay. Tuesday?
Tell them to just come here.
Hey, I can't help it, man.
Tuesday? Tuesday?
You can
Okay.
call
The
in.
7th, is there anything open on the 7th?
Yeah, I'll be loving that.
You could
What
call
day
in.
was that? Sorry.
The 7th, anything on
Tuesday?
It is not.
7th? No,
Thursday
nothing
the
on the
9th?
7th?
The 9th?
Yes, it would be from 8 to noon.
8
It'd
till
be
noon.
available.
8 to noon on Thursday, the
do that.
9th?
I
Can
can.
we do
Okay.
10 to 12? No?
Anytime, yeah.
Can we do 10 to 12?
Okay.
10
10
to 12.
o'clock on the
Okay.
9th.
Okay.
So we will be meeting on Thursday, February 9th from 10 to 12 a.m. Okay. Agenda item number 9, future discussion items.
I think we already said those.
Okay. Thank you so much. And then we'll move to agenda item number 10, which is adjournment at 4:55 p.m. Thank you so much.